Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal the International. I'm called Morinzi at Top Stories. Yaoundé military court slams CRM national treasurer across the country after the festive weekend. And tomatoes are one of the most consumed fruits. Is expensive in markets in Douala. There is speculations with end-of-year freeze and consumers are crying foul. And the National Society of Transport Electricity has acquired 10 new heavy power transformers to ensure a more stable electricity supply during the African Nations Cup. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. The military court in Yaoundé has sentenced some militants of the Cameroon Renaissance Movement Party. They include Professor Alain Foguet, Bibu Nisag, and Jofa Ngabo to 7 years imprisonment. Others were slammed 5 to 7 to 6 years, while 4 militants were sentenced to just 1 year imprisonment. Bibu Nisag is a spokesperson of Professor Maurice Kamto, while Professor Alain Foguet is a national treasurer of the CRM party. They were arrested over a year ago following a demonstration by a CRM party. Alain Foguet was arrested while on his way to Professor Kamto's residence, while Bibu Nisag was arrested in his home. The recent decision comes after the C ascribes to judge the military court incompetent to try civilians. Their last appearance was last December 24, 2021, and they never showed up again, waiting very prepared in case of the use of force. The decision is not surprising to many of the party militants. Well, they just said we're going to have a reaction in the course of our newscast. Now, after a heavy festive weekend in the nation's economic capital, Douala, the risk is still a timid atmosphere in some public services and other para-public services here in Cameroon's economic city, Douala. Our reporter Saleh Sharifa has been visiting some public services 2 days after Christmas. Her story.
Back from weekend, this Monday, 27 December 2021 in Douala, the economic capital of Cameroon, activities have resumed rather timid in commercial areas. In administrative services, staff made it to work attending to those seeking their services.
It wasn't really easy to get up and come back to work, but then you have a goal and you have to follow your goal. If you know you have to go to work on Monday, you have to come to work on Monday. It's something like a routine. You know Christmas is on the 25th of December, and immediately after Christmas, you have to come back to work. So I didn't really feel any pressure.
At the Littoral Governor's Office, activities followed their normal course. Absences have been noted, with an annual report expected to state such irregularities.
As a manager, I don't want to know if the ambiance is what, or I don't know. I just want you to do my job, and the job have to go forward. So if you are doing the job exactly what I'm asking, I think that the ambiance is good.
The effectiveness is not at 100% as workers are exhausted following heavy feasting activities that characterized the weekend.
Crop sales as bad as compared to that of last year. They are yet to regain capital invested. As we hear the following story.
It's 2 days after Christmas, and the usual hustle and bustle that characterizes these streets in the heart of Accra is still visible. We are at the popular Chinatown. Here, traders have flooded the streets, expecting to sell leftover goods for Christmas. They have rated Christmas sales as bad as compared to previous years. I still have a lot of goods that I stocked for Christmas. That's why I said sales this year was just so bad as compared to that of last year. Most people came around here, pushed the blame on Cameroon's economy. We had a lot of goods for sale, but very few persons to buy. Most of the parents complained of hard times. At the end of the day, we ended up with half of our goods. It's frustrating. From shoes, toys, decor, and traders in foodstuff, it is a similar complaint. Despite stocking shops, they claim there were just few persons to buy. Others claim they are yet to recover their capital and might end up shutting down completely. Imagine you buy lots of goods and half of your capital is yet to be recovered. It means sales were just so bad. That's what I'm talking about. It's just that as a trader, you have to be strong. We're expecting to make bricks business the last days to the new year. At the Sanaga markets, specialized in fruits and other goods, a majority of the traders talked of low sales, attributing it to skyrocketing prices of goods during this period of the year. Most presented a negative balance sheet as compared to that of last year. This man, for example, deals in fruits. Just look at my table. I still have leftover fruits. Fruits I thought I could sell during the week to Christmas, but I still have them in stock. While putting on bright faces, these traders remain confident they will make bricks business these few days left for the New Year celebrations.
Tomatoes, one of the most consumed fruits, is expensive in markets in Cameroon's economic city. The risk speculation with end-of-year freeze and consumers are crying foul. A reporter, Gladys Ambodibank, visited the Sanaga wholesale market and says although a basket of tomatoes now costs 10,000 francs CFA as compared to 25,000 francs CFA 2 days ago, but traders and consumers are still complaining. A story.
2 days after the Feast of Nativity, the prices of tomatoes are still high, but not as suffocating as some days back. At the wholesale Sandaga markets in Douala, a basket of tomatoes now costs between 10,000 and 15,000 CFA francs, unlike few days back when customers bought a basket of tomatoes at between 20,000 and 25,000 CFA francs.
The price was exorbitant because there was shortage during that period. People were already preparing for the festival that was coming up, so they could not go to the farm to look for tomato. If you have a drop today, it's because many vehicles has increased as compared to 1,000. Yes, now it has dropped to 11,000. People are also almost selling at 8.
Molio Mopa is from Edeya in the Sanaga Maritime Division. He buys tomatoes and other vegetables from the Sandaga market and supplies to retailers in Edeya. He is shocked by the exorbitant prices. I arrived here at 5:30 a.m. and the price was at 16,000 CFA francs a basket. I was obliged to hang around until this hour that the wholesalers have dropped the prices because women who usually buy have all gone. I have bought just 5 baskets of tomatoes and will go back to Edeya with the rest of my money. The baskets of tomatoes are small for that price. With the high prices, retailers sold 5 tomato fruits at 1,000 CFA francs. There are fears the prices might keep rising as demand might exceed supply with end-of-year feast and the upcoming African Cup of Nations.
Since we have the coming of the African Cup of Nations, yes, since the population of Cameroon is going to increase, so I don't think the price will fall down. It will instead increase up. And we are thanking, and we'll be praying God that the price will increase up so that farmers will also gain.
Tomato farmers say it is time for bricks business while recalling periods they sold at giveaway prices and couldn't pay back loans they took for the venture.
And with less than a week to the end of year 2021, a handful of Cameroonians have described the year 2021 as a difficult one, both at the individual and national level. Life, they say, is becoming harder with unemployment and the geometric increase in the price of some basic commodities. All they got is a hope for a better 2022. More in the following story with Hyson Cha.
Barely 4 days to the end of the year 2021, many inhabitants of the Yaoundé capital city have qualified the year as dark and extremely difficult.
2021 years has been difficult due to the economic crisis.
This year, in nowhere, all things are strong. The money is strong. The pickings sick. You don't have money to buy a hospital.
Many that were breathing somehow financially, unfortunately, fell prey to mushroom microfinance institutions, losing a huge fortune. I was saving my money in one microfinance institution, but the time I went to withdraw, it had closed down. Even now, I'm still coming from there, but nothing. It totally handicapped me. To others, the absence of peace in some parts of the country has greatly affected their morals.
We have not have a peace because our country continues to have the troubles in the southwest province and northwest.
And despite the challenges, some few Cameroonians say the tough months were those of glories and positive memories.
Even though all the things that we said that we'll do it this year, we never completed all, but the year was good.
Many can only foresee 2022 as a special and promising year for Cameroon with the coming of the African Cup of Nations.
We think that 2022,
the prospects and wishes at individual levels quite high.
Have more achievement in my professional domain.
I wish many money because I think that after God, we need to have money to resolve any problems in our life.
The usual hustle and bustle in the nation's political capital continues with the hope of stepping into the new year.
The Yaoundé Gynecological Endoscopic Surgery and Human Reproduction Teaching Hospital, Cliquez, intends in the next 3 years carry out 1,000 intro fertilization, foster gynecological cancer treatments, among many other activities, and the budget to carry them through is estimated at above 2 billion franc, a CFA budget adopted during the 7th ordinary session of the Board of Directors meeting chaired by Andre Mamafuda. More in the following story with Beatrice Ngamu.
Evaluation time at the Yaoundé Gynecological Endoscopic Surgery and Human Reproduction Teaching Hospital, Cliquez, in Yaoundé. Examination of the past 2 years and perspectives for the next 3 years, 2022-2024. Focus is on in vitro fertilization, and some 1,000 is foreseen in the next 3 years. Another area of interest is gynecological cancer, which is a big problem here in Cameroon. Diagnosis should be accompanied with therapeutic means, where we are lacking in equipment. The amount of 2.8 billion budget was adopted during the Board of Directors meeting chaired by Andre Mamafuda to enable hospital structure better carry out mission.
I think this is enough. Then we're going to try our best to be to adapt our activities and to have solutions for all our problems according to this budget.
The 2019-2021 balance sheet good sign, despite some challenges.
Our balance sheet is positive, but we had a lot of difficulties according to the coronavirus situation and according to the economical situation in the country. So I think we have to adapt. Even if we know when things get tough, only the tough gets going. We have to get going every time, even if it's tough.
Fertility Hospital, it should be noted, is a gift from the presidential couple, Paul and Chantal Biya, to the Cameroonian population.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast in the English language on Canal de International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly 19:50 with Alain. She's Lenkanga, but coming up next is NC Valakan with Mark Shamu. As for me, I'll be back same time tomorrow. Good night.